First, I want to start off by saying that if you're a fan of acting, I think you'll enjoy this movie, The Butler. If you're a fan of American history, in particular more contemporary American history, recent American history, I think you'll enjoy this movie. If you're more into action, adventure, need to see shit blow up, sex to peculiar interests, I don't know whether this movie be for you or not. This movie is probably one of the best movies I've seen in a very, very long time. There's very little I didn't like about this movie. First, let me get through the cast. You had Forrest Whitaker, who portrayed Cecil Gaines, who was a domestic worker, a butler who worked at the White House. He's based on a real-life individual named Eugene Allen, who worked at the White House for a little over 30 years. And the younger Cecil, as a young man, teenager, early 20s, was portrayed by, I believe his name might be Almil Amin. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Cecil's wife, Gloria, is portrayed by Oprah Winfrey in this movie. The oldest son, Louis, is portrayed by David Oyelowo. A very familiar face in recent movies. The youngest son, whose name is Charlie, is portrayed by Elijah Kelly. Very interesting individuals in this movie. I didn't recognize him as who he is when I first saw the movie, but David Banner, the rapper, I believe he also played in the movie Black Snake Bone with Samuel L. Jackson and Christina Ricci a couple years ago. David Banner played Earl Gaines, who was Gloria's father in the movie. Excuse me, Cecil's father in the movie. And Mariah Carey portrayed his mother, Hattie. And to round out the cast, you had Terrence Howard in the movie, Vanessa Redgrave, Clarence Williams III, Cuba Gooding Jr., Lenny Kravitz, Robin Williams, James Marsden, Liev Schreiber, John Cusack, Jane Fonda, Alan Rickman. I mean, this movie has a lot of good, if not great actors in it. So, I mean, the acting is superb. To me, what makes this movie interesting, to me at least, and memorable, is and I kind of had this, I felt this way about Forrest Gump. You see this man progress in his life, the main character, Cecil Gaines, from a boy. As growing up as working in the field as a sheriff, plantation. You see him growing up from the 1920s until 1930s. He leaves, I guess he's around 18 or 19 years old or whatever, and he leaves. I'm not trying to give away too much of the movie. And a little bit of luck is involved where he runs into a situation where he meets someone. One thing that he learned from his youth was how to serve, or to be a house nigga. That's the term that was used in the movie earlier. He grew up in a situation that none of us could really imagine growing up in the 1920s and 1930s South. You know what I'm saying? Where you're pretty much told that you're subhuman, that your only means in life is to be subservient to another race. And he ventures up north, or farther north, and he lives in Maryland, Baltimore area, and he during the mid-1950s, I think 1957, he gets a job working at the White House when Dwight D. Eisenhower was president. And the movie just goes forward on from that period of time, and you see history being made, the events that occurred during the period of time. And the most interesting dynamic, I think, is between Cecil and his oldest son. His oldest son has a completely different view of race and how to combat it. Cecil is more of, I don't even want to say he's Dr. King. His viewpoints to me, as far as the race issue, he seems closer to Booker T. Washington as far as the race situation. Things will gradually get better, to be productive in life. Things should eventually improve through us sharing common grounds, race, and things will progress eventually. Whereas his son is more militant, much more militant. And this causes a lot of tension between the two. Because I think from Cecil's mindset, he sees it as his son is just trying to basically, to where I'm looking for, antagonize him. And one thing I want to also point out that I've seen some criticism from people of this movie, and particularly people of my race, blacks, African Americans, whatever you want to call them. They seem to feel as though the Cecil and Gloria Gaines characters are Uncle Tom's, and whatever, what have you. My take on it is this: you always have to remember that these individuals were born in the late 19-teens in this country, all right, where black men in general were still being lynched, all right. 1920s, that's when the pretty much like the Klan had came back in this country, wreaking havoc. Apparently, it's not totally documented, but Warren G. Harding, the 29th president of the United States, all right, was allegedly sworn in as a Klan member, all right. Now the president, I said, right. So this is the country we lived in at the time, where you could be lynched, where oftentimes white men could go to the black side of towns or the black neighborhoods and go into your homes, rape your wives, rape your daughters, and you only had two options, which was to fight back, most likely be killed, to have your family killed, or to take it, more or less, and to look, these are things that some people don't understand and don't take into account when they're making snap judgments about certain people, particularly having to think like, go back to how these people would have to adjust their way of living to compensate for certain things. And then number two, I also strongly suspect that the people who make those judgments about those characters did not watch the entire movie. You watch clips, you just, or even more so, you probably just listen to word of mouth, listen to other people's reviews, and because these people think like you do, you just went ahead and run along with it. No, buddy, I watched the whole 2-hour and 14-minute movie, and it's one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. I think this movie might even win some Oscars, or at least should be Oscar nominated. Like I said, I'm not going to give away much of the movie. I thought as far as presidential portrayals, I think that the worst one to me, and it's just my opinion, might have been John Cusack playing Richard Nixon. I never remembered Nixon having a pompadour, and it seemed more or less he was doing like an impression of Nixon. I just didn't look at him and see that. I didn't really see Richard Nixon. I thought the best portrayal of a president in this movie was Liev Schreiber. I thought his take on Lyndon Johnson, the LBJ, was the best I've ever seen of anyone portraying Lyndon Johnson. He got the voice down right, the mannerisms, everything I thought was really textbook Lyndon Baines Johnson. I thought that he really got down to the character, and that's testament to a tremendous actor. I thought Oprah Winfrey had a very strong she gave us a strong portrayal in this movie. I just was so. I'm telling you, I think if you, like I said, if you enjoy acting and if you enjoy American history, I think you really would enjoy this movie. I really didn't see too much wrong with it. Like I said, I saw some people say they thought it was boring. Yeah, whatever. You guys just don't have any fucking attention spans. I'm not even going to that. But yeah, like I said, man, I really strongly endorse this movie, and that's all I got to say about it, man. Thank you for listening.